Always a different travel, always a crazy schedule when you're playing on the short week, trying to get it all crammed in with less time. So I think Hunky did okay, though.
Hunky always does great. Hunky makes me want to run through a wall just having a conversation walking through the hallway. For our live audience here, $2 Miller Lights during the show. Of course, we end at 8 o'clock local. Happy hour with half-price apps from 3 to 6 before the show starts. So no show next week with the bye, but come on out in 2 weeks to celebrate the Dan Mullen Coaches Show with some half-price appetizers. UNLV 2-0 so far after the win on the road at Sam Houston. We'll break that one down in some more detail throughout the show. We'll also talk about the upcoming matchup, one of the highly anticipated matchups in this year's schedule, as the Bruins of the Big Ten and UCLA come to Allegiant Stadium this Saturday evening. We'll also hear from James Faminu. We'll hear from the reigning Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week, Amaris Brown. We'll talk a little bit of offense with the quarterback Anthony Calandria also being named the Offensive Player of the Week in the conference. But, Coach, welcome back. Want to start by looking backwards. A 38-21 win over Sam Houston last Friday night on the road. And we want to get started right off the bat at the beginning. It was a 24-7 halftime lead in the game.
Yeah.
Offensively, the Rebels came out firing on all cylinders, scoring on their first 3 drives. The 4th drive from scrimmage with halftime stopping it. Anthony Calandria also completing his first 6 passes, so that pre-prescribed 10 to 20 plays to get the game started went well. How close did you stick to that initial game plan that you went out there and tried to execute on Friday?
Yeah, we did. We kind of came out early in the season. You don't always know how people are going to play you. There's not a lot of film. They're a brand new coaching staff. But you're trying to study it. They played a game like we had, so we had a little bit of film on it, but we stuck to it pretty good. I think our guys came out, executed really well. I was pleased that, that, as you said, you want to come out. I want to come out and be efficient. And, the nice thing is we were efficient. Guys made good decisions. Guys did what they were supposed to do. But we also were able to make some explosive plays down the field, which is important, for us as well. And, and so you're really pleased, with how that whole first half goes, especially offensively, with the scoring. But besides the end of the half, where, we got the ball deep in our own territory with a little time left, we decided to just go to halftime and scoring every single time we had the ball. That's the efficiency you want to see. The one bad one is the one drive that we only ended up with. We scored 17 points on the one drive, had 2 touchdowns called back because of penalties, which that's what you can't do if you, as you continue to get into bigger games as the year goes on.
Mentioned it that Calandria got Offensive Player of the Week in the Mountain West Conference this week. Efficiency was the name of the day for him, the percentage completion-wise, but also efficiency within the offense. There was a couple times he got up to the line of scrimmage and was barking some changes out that I think are showing his growth week 0 to week 1. You mentioned during the offseason kind of spoon-feeding him, slow-feeding him the offense until they get comfortable. How have you seen his comfort in that regard, getting the offense into the right play?
Well, I think he's done a great job of that, of understanding. I think that comes from the experience of having played before, not being a first-time guy on the field. He's a first-time guy in our offense, and he's a first, in the system, first-time guy for us, but he started games and started big games before. So that comfort level of understanding the game plan, getting us into plays, I think is huge.
Early down success was huge as well. You look at third down conversion rate, staying on the field, putting together long, extensive drives. But a lot of it stems from the early down success that you guys were able to have offensively.
Absolutely. You got to be good on first down. You have to. You're not going to make a living on third and long all day long. So, and I think, for our guys, once you get less than 3rd and 5, that entire playbook's open. You run, throw, the play action, the sprint out, the QB runs, all of it's open, and it makes you a lot harder to defend than when you're in those 3rd and long situations.
Philosophically, there's difference on what first down should be used for in terms of run, pass, and percentages, and you can do a whole analytic breakdown of the success rate on first down based on the type of play, pass or run. What has been your sort of philosophy, and what is your thinking in terms of what your playbook allowed you to do on first down to make sure you have early down success?
Well, I think you always want to have a balance on first down, right? I think that's a big key is, and it is the other one to be careful of is if first down's not successful, people are really kind of a lot of times will tip their hand on second down. We try not to do that, But when you're on first down, you're always trying to look at success. What's the balance of, shots? Hey, if we're going to take a shot down the field, okay, that's fine. Let's have a great second down plan in case, if we hit it, good, we're rolling.
Right.
But if not, what's the second down plan? Hey, are you going first down play action? You going first down run? Are you mixing it up? What's the balance, inside, outside run? the play action passes. There's got to be a lot of balance in everything you do to have success on first down. So you spend a lot of time on that, on getting, especially early in the drive. You know, to me, it's not just the first down. You want to get the 2 first downs. Once you get 2 first downs, you're kind of rolling it in rhythm. And so it's what are you doing within a drive to get those 2 first downs to get the rhythm going for the offense.
You talk about the balance of the play calling on first down, but taking the step back, looking at it from a macro sense, what have you thought about the balance, run versus pass, whatever ratio you would like? As far as the play calling so far from Corey Dennis, you were asked earlier in the week how often you had been chiming in on the play calling, and you said not too often. Have you been happy with the balance so far overall?
Absolutely. You know, and I think he and I are getting used to it and getting comfortable within a program, because you got to look at, there's different situations when we want to take chances, when we might want to be a little more conservative. But I'm pleased with our ability to move the ball. You know, I mean, you look at that, with the exception, you look at that last game, with the exception of the 2 drives in the third quarter where we just weren't good, and we had the interception and then got stopped on the short yardage, which was really disappointing. With the missed blocking assignment. So, with the missed assignment, allow them to stop us in short yardage. Very frustrating. A 2-play drive with an interception. With an Anthony in that scenario, I'm okay with him taking the shot, but know the game situation. He didn't need to take that chance in that situation. Others, it's not like, hey, that was a bad throw, bad decision. It's understand the decision in the whole makeup of where we are at what stage of the game. And then we don't recover an onside kick. I think that was the biggest play of the game, is not recovering the onside kick. That was disappointing. So you're really looking. I think we only ran like 58 plays on offense, which is really disappointing. But we did have a pick 6. That kind of hurts a drive. You don't recover an onside kick. That hurts a drive. And then you have the 3 and out and the 2-play interception. I mean, and so like offensive guy, I went to the offensive guys like, Coach, I want to get more touches. I said, good, stay on the field. Recover the onside kick. Let's get us first downs, and everybody gets more touches. And it's interesting about the assignments of things, of guys understanding the big picture of the game. It's like, hey, if you're a receiver, if you get 5 catches in a game, that's a pretty darn good game. But if you're playing 50 plays, that means 45 other plays. You better be doing something other than catch the ball, and you better do it really well, or you ain't going to get your 5 catches. And, so I think that aspect of the offense and the whole team, just that efficiency throughout an entire game is important.
Offensively, the balance between efficiency in the short yardage situations and then the explosive plays. It's become a part of sports in general, the explosive plays, the plays that are extended downfield. It seems like Jaden Bradley has become the guy that's generated a lot of explosive plays for the offense. Is that by design, or is he just finding himself down the field and that chemistry between he and the quarterback?
He does by position. He's kind of, he got speed and size and can take the top off of coverages, but also it's matchup based, right? They're giving him, he's running the big posts, and they're going to give him one-on-one coverage. And leave the DB one-on-one. We're going to take that opportunity, and he's done a really nice job of making the big catches when we've given him those one-on-one chances down the field.
Defensively, you've also put your secondary in situations where they have a lot of one-on-one opportunities down the field, and they've come down with some interceptions this year. A standout performance again from Amars Brown. He was the defensive player of the week for the Mountain West as well, responsible for the pick 6. Defensively, I thought for 2.5 quarters, maybe 3 of the ball game, if you talk about the total minutes, a much better performance from week 0 to week 1.
Yeah, exception of 2 plays, to be honest with you. They had 2 4th and 1s in the fourth quarter. On those 2 plays, they got 112 yards of offense and 14 points. In the other 72 plays of the game they ran, they had 220 yards and 7 points.
Wow.
So, and both of those came in the fourth quarter. 2 opportunities. We had a guy miss a gap on the 4th and 1, or we would have had to stop. And then we, misjudged the tag. Just got to get the guy on the ground on 4th down. We kind of get our eyes in the backfield, poor eyes on our corner on that play. That's the thing that we talked about. I think we took huge steps from week 1 to week 2. And then we got into the little attention to details, because you're looking for 85% of that game we dominated. unfortunately, for the 15% we didn't, when we were good, we were really good. When we were bad, we were really bad. I mean, you go up 112, like, so I don't know what I was told there'd be no math tonight, but 220 plays on 7 yards on 70 plays is what's like 2 yards a play.
Yeah, if there's math,
right? You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
2 to 3 yards a play, and then give up 60 yards on 2 plays. Average. That it is that consistency. The same offensively. When we were rolling, they never slowed us down. We just went up and down the field at will. And then when we weren't, we kind of just stop ourselves, and then it's like, and it's nothing.
I love the sound effects to describe it because everybody knows what it is. It's like, there's really not a word for it, but just sputtering offensively.
I mean, everybody watching at home is like, whoa, that was dumb. Like, I feel the same way on the sideline. I'm like, that was terrible.
Hey, no math on my show, but I do know that is an onomatopoeia, a sound that relates a feeling like that. So we're going to add it to the dictionary. We've talked a lot, Coach, here in the early stages of the season about the development of the offense and how it's come along. Before we take our first break, wanted to ask you about how you felt the development of Paul Gunther's defense has come along, because that was a big topic in the early part of the season, and the preseason even, was how that NFL style with a lot of the communication and individuality would play out. What's been your assessment of the defense as far as the communication and how those things have come together early this year?
Really well. I think you look, in game 1, we gave a bunch of yards. I knew their quarterback was a really good player, but he knew that coming in, and he made some spectacular throws. They made some spectacular catches. But a lot of their plays, and one of the things you always want to look at, like I said, there are a couple that we were really out of position and they hit explosive plays. There were a lot we were in position and they made great plays. Big difference between the two. So, part of it is showing our guys, like, hey, we're there. We're in position. We just got to finish little things. It's not like we're way far away. And you saw that last week. Like I said, now we're going last week into saying, hey, for 95% of the game, we're in position making great plays. Now that last 5% of the game, we can't give up a critical errors like that. And so I think the little teaching of the guys of the buy-in, but I think I've seen from our guys the understanding. I read something this week, too. I didn't realize. Like, I guess when you get your little, you guys probably, like in the media, like I get them. We get the game sheets that you read.
Yeah.
I never paid attention to it as much as a coach. All right? Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
You got the game book. And so I didn't realize we have the least number of returning starters of any team in all of college football.
Only 2.
In all of college football, not in the Mountain West, not on the West Coast. In all of college football, we have the least amount of returning starters. And, but for me, everybody was new kind of anyway, so I'm getting to know people. But when you look at that, so that's so many people, their first time putting on the uniform, starting in a game, being out there on the field, the lack of experience, that you're going to see that growth. So I'm actually very pleased with how we've played, considering the little amount of experience we're throwing out there on the field.
We're going to step aside for our first commercial break, so plenty more to come here on the Dan Mullen Coaches Show. Coming up, we've talked enough about the skill guys. Let's talk about the trenches, some of the offensive and defensive linemen that have made the impact early in the season. Still plenty to go. It's the Dan Mullen Coaches Show here at PKWY Tavern, 215 in Flamingo, and you're listening to the UNLV Sports Network from Learfield. All right, welcome back. It's the Dan Mullen Coaches Show here at PKWY Tavern, 215 in Flamingo, along with Caleb Herring and our on-site producer, Jared Justice. I'm Matt Everett, joined as always, the show's named after him. It's the head coach, Dan Mullen, here for UNLV football, getting set to take on the UCLA Bruins this upcoming Saturday at Allegiant Stadium, 5 o'clock kickoff. It's going to be on CBS Sports Network, but you can listen to our radio call on ESPN 1100 AM and 100.9 FM, starting at 4 o'clock for the Ted Weens pregame show.
Yeah, don't you watch? You watch on TV, and you turn the volume down, and then turn the radio on
to listen to the home
you
broadcast.
Go to syncmygame.com. There is a website. We do the ads for it. Syncmygame.com. If you want to watch it on TV and listen to our radio broadcast.
That's how you do it.
We're a little biased, but that's how we think everybody should be doing it.
The best way to do it is to take your mobile device with you into Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah.
And then you can watch it live.
You should be, if you can't I would really like you at the game, to be honest with you.
Hey, UNLVtickets.com, ESPN Radio Las Vegas, how you can listen to us. I also love the Varsity Network app. When I tell people that want to listen to the game, I'll say, hey, Varsity Network app, it makes it easier for folks like my parents who barely have the cell phone. Give them the one app to remember.
Technology.
Yeah, exactly. But I digress. I want to talk a little bit more about the game against Sam Houston while we look ahead to the game against UCLA this upcoming week. Like I mentioned in the break to the last commercial, we talked a lot about the skill guys. But in terms of the big uglies, so to speak, the trenches, the offensive and defensive line, we'll start on the offensive side of the ball. You've had some rotating pieces, especially at the tackle positions. But in the second game of the year, last Friday against Sam Houston, we saw a little bit trimmed down rotation, so to speak, as far as the rotating bodies. How do you think that group is coming along as far as really settling into maybe 5 or 6 guys, and then how that communication builds from there?
Yeah, you want to play as many guys as you can. To me, especially, you go last week's game, we tried to rotate a bunch, and a lot of the reason you're trying to rotate a bunch is you're down there in Houston. It was kind of humid.
Oh, yeah.
It was a humid night. And so, for our guys, to get the guys out there is critical. But up front, you do want to rotate guys. I know you want to keep continuity, but I think as people were coming out to practice and they started to notice, like, wow, Coach, you play a lot of combinations on the offensive line at practice. And a lot of that, the reason we're doing that is because of in season. One, I want us to be the ability to rotate, keep everybody healthy, fresh. If we do get injuries, guys are used to playing with different combinations of guys out there on the field. And so all of those things we want to do, and it carries over. Guys have earned playing time. We want to get them out there on the field and hopefully keep everybody fresh.
So you make some adjustments during the season as far as the depth, rotating guys in to have them ready to go when there's their time. But you also do other things during the season that are minor adjustments maybe, but maybe have a big-time effect schematically as well as for the big boys up front, helping them maintain weight throughout the season. One of them dealing with the elements like the Vegas heat. And one of the ways you've done that, I don't know if this is the intended purpose or what you were intending to do, was switching the practices from the morning operation to the evening operation. Those kind of coaching adjustments, those kind of scheduling adjustments, how do they impact the season? What are the pros and cons there?
Well, obviously it's huge. I just think, I know our schedule, our routine, how we do things. We've always been an afternoon practice team. These first couple weeks, we'll go after this game. We'll go back to the afternoon practice. We've been doing some early evening practices. Just with the heat, and that is, and a lot of that just to battle the weather and keep everybody fresh, keep everybody's legs where they need to be, and I think that's a really important, critical thing for us, for the players to keep them healthy and fresh during the course of the year. Everybody, I want us to be fast on Saturday, but I also want us to be prepared, tough, and physical. So we work hard during the week. We try to find scientifically. We track how far everybody goes, how fast they go up, every little detail. Try to make sure we have a great performance come Saturday.
One of the guys who was really grateful for the switch, one of the big boys we talked about earlier, James Flamingo, he enjoyed switching to the night shift schedule. He also enjoyed some playing time, a part of the rotation, obviously getting his feet wet as a Rebel. Coming in from probably the farthest of any Rebel, talking about where birthplace and all that stuff. But here he is talking with our Steve Cofield earlier this week about how he feels about the move to the afternoon practices.
I'm enjoying myself. I was dying in them heats, but it's just good. I like the time, like to be able to come in and get my body right for the afternoon. So I enjoy it.
Did you not like the mornings? Because I think a lot of people are morning people. They want to get to it.
I'm not someone that complains. Like, this is my 6th year in college, but I definitely prefer afternoon. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. After this practice today, what was the message from the coaches or Mullen? What did he tell you?
The biggest thing is execution and just doing our job. One thing I like about Coach Mullen is he doesn't overcomplicate things. He doesn't need to do like a rah-rah speech or anything special. It's listen, do your job, know what you do, know how to do it, and execute. It's really that simple. That's what we did last game. That's what we're going to do even better this week.
Did you never like rah-rah speeches, or because you've heard them all, you're older, you don't like them?
I think it's because I've heard them all. And don't get me wrong, I love a good speech, but it's like I like the simplicity because nothing needs to be that. Like, it doesn't need to be all that. Like, it really is that simple, and I like that because it's just straight to the point, and I'm with it.
There's been a lot of talk about your coaching style and maybe what it would be like, kind of coming out of retirement and getting adjusted to the roster that you have and the players that you have and what they prefer and how they receive coaching. What has been your method to your madness so far with this roster, and how have you adjusted?
Well, it is, and he mentioned it's the accountability of everybody. You know, I mean, we're going to – guys coming, especially in today's world, we have a lot of veteran players maybe that aren't veterans with us or veterans in their career, older players, a lot of, as we said, a lot of new starters, but a lot of guys coming from the transfer portal. So as we put this whole roster together of looking at guys, and, you know, I do try to simplify it for them. Here's your job, do your job. If you want to be good, right, don't like, you know, too many people want to tell me they want to be great. Show me you want to be great. Like, hey, here's the plan. I need you to do this. But, Coach, I just do the simple things, and you'll be great, right? It's not that complicated. And I talk to our guys all the time. There's a lot of wishers in the world. But there's less wanters. Wanters are successful. Wanters go and do something about it. Wishers are sitting there laying around dreaming about it. Tell me what they could do or what they couldn't do. Be a wanter. Go up and get the job done. We lay out a simple plan. Here's what you need to do to be successful. And then if you don't follow it, don't complain that you're not successful. It was really simple. You need to do this, right? You know, I mean, like I got my chocolate chip cookies delivered to me here tonight, right? I mean, if I want to lose weight, I can't. If I want to lose weight, I can't be eating chocolate chip cookies all the time. But if I'm wishing I'm losing weight, I'm really thinking, boy, I could eat less, but I really love chocolate chip cookies. I'm going to eat a bunch of chocolate chip cookies.
We've all been there.
Yeah, we've definitely been there, and it seems like you've been there, especially in terms of dealing with the players on the field. I thought watching your interaction with Anthony Colandrea leaving the field after the mentioned earlier the mistakes of that potential 2-minute drive. You had an extended discussion with your quarterback walking off the field, and what I watched during that was not necessarily a guy yelling at his player or whatever the case may be, but I watched the body language of your quarterback completely receiving the coaching. And I think that was one of the things I look for. I'm a big body language guy, especially for a quarterback, to take the coaching, understand it on that long walk to the locker room. It seems like he has the right demeanor for it. What did you see from that interaction with him?
Well, it's just everything. Like you said it, though. It's the interaction. Listen, if you see me yelling and screaming, it's because we're not playing hard. Right? I mean, if we're not going hard or giving great effort, then I'll yell and scream because that's not acceptable, right? I mean, you can control your effort. Just go as hard as you can. That's simple. Control your effort. The coaching aspect of it is for us to coach, you know, and so yelling and screaming while we're coaching doesn't get a whole lot done. You want to make sure we're teaching, instructing, understand the interaction with the quarterback. I always want to have the interactions because I got to know what he thinks. It's really important for me. I'm standing on the sidelines with the headsets on, you know, just hanging out, having a good time. No one's trying to hit me usually, I don't think, on the sidelines, right? And he's out there, and there's big guys trying to hit him all over the place. So I got to think like him because he only has about 2.2 seconds till some 300-pound guy smacks him, you know. So I want to think the way he thinks and then get him to think the way I think so that we're kind of on the same page, right? That, we want to be like those Avatar movies, right? Where like our little things zoom, like get together and we're really like the coach and the quarterback act as one on the field.
I thought you mentioned this a few times in different ways, but I thought there were moments in the game where you felt on the sideline that you had an opportunity to seize control of the game. I think the 3-and-out in the second half was one of those. Obviously, the dropped onside kick. What are those moments like for teaching and taking that next step as a program in those moments?
Well, it's frustrating for our guys because, you know, as you say, we look at the parts of the game, right? And, you know, in retrospect, I think we were pretty much in control the whole time. We got to see some other things, which is our defense go out there and completely slam the door, stopping them on fourth down over and over. And, we gave up the two long fourth down plays, but we also stopped them 3 times on fourth down in the course of the game. So I think for the guys to see how good maybe we can be, right? And we're not there. And to think that we're there, to think that we have some answers. We certainly don't. However, if we take care of our business, if we can focus and be attention to detail and do everything, everybody, don't do anything special. Just do your job for all 60 minutes. But we could be pretty good. You know, we got a chance. And so I think the guys buy into that. They see that, they learn, and then we want them. They want to talk about the little details. Like our guys want to be great. They don't want to be good. They want to be great. And I said, okay, we were good last week. We're okay week 1. We were good last week. Okay? If you want to be great, you're not going to miss a gap on 4th down. If you want to be great, you're going to make the pass breakup on 4th down. You're going to recover the onside kick. At which point, then, we probably, you do those things, you're probably winning the game by 40, right? And now the retrospect of things on side, you look at the things. I get into red zone scoring. Sam Houston had 4 red zone possessions that netted 7 points. I mean, I can tell you their coach going in and say, hey, guys, if we score in the red zone, we win the game. Oh, lost by 17. We could have scored another 21 points in the red zone. So the coaching aspect of things, and I hate to make it boring for everybody, but there's these little things and details that go on within the game, little parts of the game and things that help you win that if you really focus on and you pay attention and you dominate in, you're going to be extremely successful.
There he is, Coach Mullen, here on the Dan Mullen Radio Show, live from PKWY Tavern, brought to you by EOS Fitness. Get out of the sideline and into EOS Fitness, a proud partner of UNLV, featuring premium amenities including their turf functional training area, Move EOS Cinema, open 24/7, and much more. Join now for as low as $9.99 per month at joineos.com. EOS Fitness, where there's a will. Coming up on the next segment of the Dan Mullen Radio Show, we have a conversation with the Defensive Player of the Week in the Mountain West Conference, Amaris Brown, coming down with some big plays for the Rebel defense. We've got that and much more on the other side of this quick break. You're listening to the Dan Mullen Radio Show on the UNLV Sports Network from Learfield.